In this video, I want to talk about painting the tree. We first talk about form of the tree, balance of the form in nature, painting silhouette of the tree, painting over the tree using lighter or darker color, showing the texture of the tree using darker lines, smoothing the transition between light and dark area, adding highlights beside cracks, editing the color, adding imperfection, and we also talk about painting a pine tree using a simple technique in this video. First of all, let's talk about the form of the tree. I have an image of tree here. I have removed hue from the image here. Then I have increased the contrast. Now if you look at carefully, you can see a pattern. This is the pattern that you can see on this tree. If you pay more attention, you can say that this crack are in a flue in the body of the tree. They follow each other. Here, if you look at the anatomy of a body, whenever there is a force that go to this direction, there's another force that balances the other force. This force balances this one. This force balances this force. And this force, there's balance this force. It's like a seesaw. So if you look at nature, there's always balance between different forces. So you can see a form is beautiful because nature is following the simple rules. Same as here, I have painted a tree. If you look at this force, I have created this one to balance this force. Same as branch. If one branch goes in this direction and another branch goes to this direction. So in nature, there's always balance between different parts of an object or different limbs of a human or animals. Considering what I said about keeping balance in nature and looking at this reference, I start to paint a tree. I paint a simple form to start with. I select a soft round pressure opacity brush with soft tip, and when you select this brush, transfer is activated and control is set to pen pressure. So you can control the opacity of your brush by controlling the pressure you apply to your tablet. Paint over the base form of the tree with dark and light colors based on the light direction. In my example, the light source is in the right side of the tree. So I paint with a light color on the right side and with a darker color on the left side. Next, I select hard round pressure size brush with hard tip, and if you select this brush, shape dynamic is activated and control is set to pen pressure. To show the texture of the tree, paint darker lines as cracks. Imagine you are painting river on the ground. When you are painting the cracks on the tree, imagine you are painting the flow of the water. The flow of the water is curved, smooth lines. They are not straight, diagonal lines. I think I need more contrast on the left side. So I select more darker brown and I paint on the left side. When you paint a darker or lighter color on your base color, it's important have a smooth transition between light and darker colors. If you look at this example, I have two colors. I want a soft transition between this color. Fortunately, by activating transfer in brush setting and set the control to pen pressure, you can gradually mix two color to each other. Add highlights beside cracks to show the effect of the light on the surface of the tree. So when a viewer look at the image, the viewer can guess that there's a light source on the right side of the tree. Edit the color of the tree using color balance. Here I make my tree a little warmer. Next, I clean up the edges. Paint with a lighter color around the lighter side to show the backlight. Hold Ctrl, then click on the thumbnail of the layer to select the opaque area around the tree. Then press Ctrl H to hide it. When painting the backlight is finished, your selection is still active. You need to deactivate it, otherwise you cannot paint outside the tree. Press Ctrl D to deactivate your active selection, which is hidden. Next step is to add imperfection to the tree. If you look at this tree, you can see that here I have added imperfection to the bottom of the tree, and this one and this one. And if I combine all of them, I will have something like this. So I will add this imperfection to the tree. As I said, I apply imperfection to the tree. This is the last step of painting the tree, so I just fast forward the rest of the video. Painting the body of the tree is done. But before finishing this course, I also want to show you how to paint pine tree. Let's start paint pine tree. To paint pine tree, I need 3 or 4 shades of green. I start with a darker shade of green, then I gradually, in 3 or 4 steps, I select lighter shade of green. I hope you remember from the color theory lesson that when I want to select a darker shade of a color, I need to move in diagonal direction. By doing so, I make sure that when the color becomes darker, the saturation increase. Because when a color becomes darker, it becomes more saturated. For more information about the color theory, please watch the previous lessons. As I said, it's better to have a custom color palette during the painting. It will help me to organize my color much more better. I select a hard round pressure size brush with hard tip while the shape dynamic is activated and control is set to pen pressure. You can rotate all of the painting area using rotate view tool. The shortcut is R. And when you press escape, you will return back to the normal view. Next, I paint several green leaves over each other. Below this layer, create a new layer and rename it to shadow. With a much darker and saturated green, I start to paint shadow. Select soft run pressure opacity brush with soft tip and paint shadow beneath the main layer. Then I duplicate each piece of the pine tree and I put the new layer beneath the upper layer. Clean the shadow in the area that is outside of the tree. Press Ctrl T and then right click on the transformation area and then press warp. Using this technique, edit the form of the pine tree. Paint more leaves if you want. Finally, I merge all of the leaves and again using the warp tool, I deformed all of the pine tree. I hope you liked this tutorial and please practice to learn to paint tree.